help. And I guess my point would be is if you're I would say a value being given there, then our tools are not going to work nearly as well. So it's really important that all three pieces are present in order for us to be helpful. So yeah, I think that's a really interesting one. And I think in motivational design, there's so many examples of this. And I think any product designer these days is really thinking about motivational design in part of the development process. Like there's the classic most known tools like Fitbit use this kind of this thinking where there's lots of people that are active, but if you add an element of motivational design, so it's tracking your steps, then people are going to find that more appealing and therefore likely going to take more steps and exercise more. So I think if you just kind of look around at the products that are around you, there's lots of examples of this.
Yeah, okay. So our team is letting us know that we are back on both Facebook and YouTube. We apologize for the inconvenience. And yeah, that image makes me think of Peloton, which is this service that is blowing up, thanks in part because of the pandemic. And I think it's because, among other things, because it unites all the items that you mentioned of engagement.
Absolutely.
The emotional, the sort of the challenge of it.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I just started, I use the Peloton app, but I have a regular exercise bike. I'm not that fancy. And it's amazing watching the show, again, from that perspective, the classes that they run. They do lots of personal recognition. They do the high fives during the ride. They mention milestones. This is your 100th ride. And so those are all things that they have done really well for the motivational design side of things. And I think that's what we are looking to do with Moodle, is to add that type of framework to improve learning. And so back when we looked at what are the things that we want to see our students do, what are the behaviors that lead to learning? And so we started to look at ways that we could shape those behaviors. And so the very first one, course enrollments, it sounds kind of obvious, but if people are not entering your learning environment, they're obviously not going to learn anything. So I like to think of that as, how do we increase the number of eyeballs that are going to look at your content and consume the learning opportunities that you're presenting? Number two there, I always wanted my students to go in as quickly as possible and as often as possible. So I was really keen on improving that timeliness and frequency of learning. Course completion rates is a well-known, I would say, issue with online learning. And so we are looking at really targeting those people that struggle to complete those courses. And so in any increase in those levels, we would find a huge amount of success. And mastery is another one that I got really interested in, more as a personal level, because I was really tired of seeing students getting the minimum levels of achievement. I called them 50.0 and go students. So they would just get a pass. They would get 50, and they would never go back and try and improve on their learning, and they'd always say, oh, well, I did what you asked me to do. So that's good enough. And so I always wanted to push students to do more. And so that's another aspect that we're trying to shape. And then, as I mentioned, that personal connection is another big one in terms of building, I would say, a community of loyal learners, as I like to call them, so that people are more emotionally connected to your organization, to their learning environment, and hopefully will then obviously be an advocate of your program and encourage other people to participate. And so what we've done with Moodle is we've introduced a virtual currency, and that currency is earned based on competency-based criteria. So by default, we have the currency being earned by completions. So like our plugin is really a listening device. It's listening for any activities that are getting completed or any courses that are getting completed. And the students, once they meet those criteria that are set on the Moodle site, once they're marked as complete, then that currency will arrive. So by default, I call them coins just because it's an easy word, but we have clients that call it different things like points or tokens. It's some accumulation that they're attaining. And what I really liked about this concept is the idea of feedback, because as a teacher, we all know that feedback is a critical part of the learning process, but often it would take me, a long time, relative speaking, to what the student was doing to provide them with feedback. So if it's in terms of verbal feedback, or if it's, formative assessments, or if it's some type of communication back to them, it would not be instantaneous. And so I found that the virtual currency was a really good way of instantly communicating with the student that they're making progress, that there's a positive part of their feedback, and they can see it happening instantly as soon as they're making meeting those criteria. And so the way our platform works is that those coins accumulate in their wallet, which is the picture in the middle that you can see. The coins count goes up. And then they can enter a store, which is managed by the organization. And so it could be the school or a company. And the store is able to offer any type of opportunity or item. So a lot of people by default think of putting like stuff in there, but to be honest, the original idea I had was it would be really cool if the principal would give up their parking spot for a week, if the students could purchase the option to park there, or if they could purchase a raffle draw to maybe win a chance to park in there, or our school would give away dance tickets or food or things like that. So I wanted to connect like an opportunity with our students with these coins to something that the school could easily offer. Since that time, we have organizations that offer all sorts of different items and real items and things like that. We'll talk about that more. But the concept is that the students can redeem their coins for other opportunities. And my preference is linking those things to that will enhance the learning further. Like maybe it will give them an extension on an assignment or a test rewrite or something that adds value still to their learning environment. All of that we have managed on our dashboard, and that allows you to see the coins coming in, allows you to manage the items and the redemptions and things like that. And last point is we've leveraged some of the features within Moodle to offer a very personalized experience. So the multi-tenancy part is where we connect you can organize students in Moodle into different cohorts, and each cohort can then have their own unique store. So you can really get a personalized experience where you can have items and opportunities that are very much tailored to the interests of those particular cohorts of users. And so within a school, it could be you have different age groups or different, say, departments that have unique items that students can have available to them. And within a company, we work with companies, again, different divisions, different geographic locations. And so there's a number of ways that you can really, again, localize those store items. And so in terms of a gamification design, we came at this with this, I call it the motivational loop, where as a game designer, you want to add all of these abilities to earn coins. And so that's done in the Moodle site. So through those activity and course completions, the students can gain coins. And we're addressing the intellectual engagement piece by doing that. And then, as we mentioned, our store is right in the same Moodle environment. It's right next to it. And that's where we want students to go and spend those coins. And so we want to provide as many opportunities to drain those coins away, to deplete them, to keep them coming back into the learning environment. So the store is where we tap into that behavioral and emotional connection that we have to the students and keep that engagement, those three parts of the engagement piece alive and well. And so we come at our entire motivational design, again, from those 5 points that I mentioned. Like, first of all, we got to attract our learners, and then we want to look at those behaviors that we want to assign some values to. The big key is offering those tailored rewards and incentives that are found appealing. And then out of all of that, it's actually just been in the last year, most of the clients that we have on the corporate side have come to us and really kind of leveraged our platform for a marketing purpose. So how do you attract and grow your learning program? And we have some tools that we built to help with that. So on that note, I mentioned is increasing enrollments. How do you get more people to come into your courses? And so we built this cool little tool for Moodle that looks for the very first time a student enrolls into your Moodle site. And what happens is we call this the Welcome Coins add-on. And so there's this little pop-up you can see on the left. It's not that, it doesn't take up the whole screen. It's just a little window, and you can control the message and the amount of coins that are earned. But it's literally the first time they arrive into your environment, they are given this welcome message and a set number of coins. And it does really three things. Like, as you can see on the right there, that's the way one of our clients is using this particular feature. They're using it to attract people. This is a customer education program. So these are external audiences. So it's In this case, it's people that are not employees. They're trying to get them to come in and learn about their products and services. And they're not required to. There's no mandatory learning or training part of this. So attracting people into their program is a really big strategy or important part of it. So this welcome coins, the one purpose it serves is a marketing strategy. So attracting people to the learning environment. Number two, obviously, it's a feel-good message for the first time that you're entering the Moodle site. And then number three is it introduces the concept of like, hey, I can earn these coins. There must be some way that I can redeem them for something else. And so it basically is the gate, kind of the gate into our Motrain environment. And as I mentioned, we have the store. And so this is where the creativity lies. And this is where I find the conversation gets really interesting with the people we speak to, is because you can put anything into the store. It can be, like I said, an extension on an assignment. It could be a parking space. You can put in real items if you want. The limit is your imagination. And so that's where I think each organization has to look at what things are appealing to their audience, and B, what can they offer in there. And so we have a whole suite of like low cost or no cost ideas, and there's obviously up to the other spectrum. There's high cost items that you could put in there. But I want to speak to the mechanics behind this. So you can see in the picture here, there's so we have the item image on the, I'm all over the place here. We have the item image on the left side here, with the name and description here, but we've put in some other tools here, which is a time limit on it. So you can set a start date and an end date. And as a teacher, I was always tired of what I call nagging my students, like, go in and do your learning. How come this isn't done? And why haven't you done this more times? And so the thinking behind putting a time frame on the item would be to really address that timeliness and frequency of learning. So I wanted to stop nagging my student and starting to nudge them towards going into earning enough coins if they wanted that particular opportunity. So that time limit does achieve that. We also have something called scarcity, which isn't in this picture here, but you can limit the number of items available. And so as other students are claiming those items, they can see that number is getting reduced. You'll also see we have, so we call it a direct purchase, this top one. It's like shopping. If you have enough coins, you can make the purchase. Below that, the middle one here is a raffle draw entry. And so in the gamification side of things, we wanted to add some elements of uncertainty. And so having items up for raffle draws does a few things. One is it limits the number of items that you have to, have available to redeem, but it also adds an element of uncertainty. So as a learner, you don't really know if you're going to win this or not. So it keeps driving people to come back into the learning environment. So when you purchase an entry for a raffle, you actually increase your probability of winning that particular item, but it's a dynamic system. And so as other students are making raffle draw entry purchases, your probability goes down. And so there's this constant kind of battle we want to keep having people, again, buy those entries. We want to drain their coins to keep them coming back into the learning environment. And then the last one we have is an auction system, which is just like a regular auction, except for you have to pay a few coins to bid on an item. And so even if you get outbid, you still pay a little bit to participate. So we have many, I'm going to say, gamification mechanics to drive that motivation and that coin dynamics there. I wanted to add this slide really quickly, just to mention, as a teacher, we did start our platform with a target for schools. And so we have a mobile app, which allows you to take those coins and spend them on updating avatar parts. And then what you could do is push that avatar image to your Moodle profile picture. And so that's what I just took a screen grab of. So for schools, we do have the store. You can put in items like that as well. But we do have this whole, again, appeal. I think it's more of an appealing tool for some younger audience. And we also put in a user-generated content system. So students can actually create and upload digital assets to the mobile app for other students to purchase. Obviously, there's some checks and balances like to approve those avatar parts, but it's pretty neat in terms of students being able to help build those digital assets. So I just wanted to add that because it's something that's available for our younger audience. But really, I would say the backbone to our whole platform is how those coins are earned. And I mentioned that you can they're based on, by default, based on completion events. And so on our dashboard, our platform listens to those events when they're marked as complete. And so you can go in and control the amount of coins that are earned for each of those completion events. And so you can do it on a global basis, so your entire Moodle site wide, so any course that's marked complete or any activity you default valid for, and then you can allow you to get a bit more creative as well, because you can customize those. We can override those and go into specific courses and set the completion values for specific activities. And what this does is allows us to leverage some features in Moodle. And so I call this the mastery loop, which is where I'm going to point to this middle one here, the safety quiz. Let's say I have a quiz that everybody is required to do. You can see that on your Moodle site. This picture down here is showing you from the student's perspective what it would look like. So as a student, I can see this quiz. I'm expected to take it. And everybody hopefully knows when you have the completion turned on, once it's marked complete, you'll get that little check mark over here. But as a course designer, I'm going to put in what I call the mastery loop. It's using the restrict access feature. When that quiz is marked complete, I'm going to have another activity that's going to appear. So you can see this one will. And what these activities are is maybe it's a quiz with more challenging questions. Maybe I've set the minimum grade to pass to a higher level, and optional. It's saying, hey, if you want to challenge yourself, and we'll give you some extra coins if you can complete this one. Again, it's this way that we can push students above and beyond what's minimally required. So we can manage those values for each of those activities when they're marked as complete. We also had some clients that are interested in rewarding based on more tied to grade items and the scores that students are achieving. And so we designed another system to award coins, and that's based on grade ranges on items that have an actual score to them. So again, you can set this on a global setting for all of your whole Moodle site, or you can get granular and pick specific courses and specific grade items. But what it allows you to do is, for example, in a quiz, if you have a range of between an 80 and 100%, you could have 10 coins being earned, and a score between 60 and 79% will say earn 6 coins, and so on. So you can add as many ranges as you like. But what we did is, again, to encourage mastery, is we allow students, we encourage the course creators to allow students to have multiple chances of writing a quiz. So if a student scores, let's say, a 65, they'll end up in this middle range here and earn 6 coins. If they rewrite the quiz and land, say they score an 82, so they land like up in this next range, we'll give them 4 more coins. We'll always allow them to top up to the next level to encourage them to try and push up to, and achieve the next highest grade range. So the neat part is you can use both these grade rules as well as the completion rules in tandem. You can use them together, so you can get very creative in terms of I would say the economy behind your Moodle site. For any corporate people out there that have corporate training, one of the things that we've been doing a lot of work with is customer training. So that extended audience, so non-employees, how you're attracting people to come in and learn about your products and services. And so there's a really big push towards that here in North America. And one of the reasons that it is it's a very I would say important part of the business side of things for many corporations, but it's also a powerful marketing tool. And so with our tools, we can encourage people to come in, customers to come in and learn about the products and services. So we're really encouraging the brand awareness and familiarity with these products, and building brand loyalties, because as these customers come in and learn about specific products, hopefully they're going to decide to make those purchases or recommend them during their day. And so what we're turning out to be is actually a really powerful marketing tool, because companies are putting in their own branded products into the store for their customers to be able to acquire when they complete their training. And so I'm going to speak a bit to our Watts Water project for that specific case in terms of adding the marketing bit onto them. And so what they've done is they've taken their own tokens here. You can see it's branded. They've made the block look a bit more unique to their own brand and their colors. And they offer their own branded products and lifestyle products or I should say merchandise in the store. And so this is obviously on the high end of the expense side here. They're putting in those types of items for students to earn with their tokens. And what we've done is connected their cohorts to a shipping provider. And so what we could do then is on the redemption fulfillment side of things is we can connect each cohort to a unique fulfillment provider. And what we're doing is setting up each of those cohorts based on geography. So they have a North American cohort with Canadian, American, and Mexico is actually part of that. And then they also have another cohort in Italy, another one in France, another one in the Benelux region. And each of those have their own fulfillment provider. And so we're literally having items shipped to these customers all around the globe with that shipping integration. And in terms of their marketing, they're also adding in this little thank you card into their shipment, which is just a little thank you note for doing the training. And if you enjoy one of the products that you've earned from your learning, take a picture and send a quote in and earn an additional 300 tokens to your account. And so we have the ability to add coins for other reasons outside of the LMS. You can manually add coins. We also have an API that allows you to automatically send coins to learners as well for different reasons. But they're using this as a marketing tool, and they're getting all these awesome pictures coming in of people using their products with a quote. And what they're doing then is taking those pictures and those quotes, and they're reusing them in their marketing campaign to obviously attract more of their customers that come into their learning environment. And so it's been a really interesting thing to see how they've taken the learning and the learning management system, but leveraged also, they brought in their marketing team to get involved. And so this project we've been working on for about 1.5 years now, and the results are pretty amazing. We had them come to us before they used Motrain, and they had 374 customers sign up who completed 2,000 courses. And then we started with Motrain and added in our entire platform. And you can see they had over 6,000 customers register and complete over 72,000 courses in the same time frame. So they're expanding their this program as quickly as possible based on the success that they found there. So with that, I was hoping to wrap up my slide deck, and then maybe we could have a look into a couple of Moodle sites that I have set up with it, and then answer some questions as well as people hopefully have some questions about what we're up to here. Just to swap back here. Do you want to actually?
Yes. Yeah, we already have some questions, but please keep them coming. If you're on YouTube or on Facebook, we are listening. We actually already have a couple, but please continue.
Okay, sure. I'll just spend a few more minutes going over two different kind of use cases, and then we'll stop there. I should back up here. As this is more of our demonstration that we use for a corporate audience here. It's a pretty plain looking Moodle site here, but you can see on the dashboard here, we have our Motrain block that's in the middle here. And we have a number of different tabs that we can access here. So we have an information tab, which is just generic information about the program and the approach. We recommend that clients put in the economy so students understand how coins are earned and why they're earned, and the premise behind it. I was just in the store. I'll go there again in just a minute here, but we can also keep track of purchases. We do have leaderboards as well, which are kind of fun because you have both. We have what I call competitive leaderboards and we have collaborative leaderboards. So competitive leaderboards are where we can see the total number of coins earned by a student in a cohort. And then if we switch over to our collaborative leaderboards, you can see this is the collective number of coins earned by all of the students within a cohort. So think of it as like team versus team leaderboards. And then you can see this one is marked as anonymous. So we can do that on both of our leaderboards. If you want to show just the relative position of where a user or a cohort is, you can do that. You can also hide them if you don't want to use them, like this whole thing disappears. So leaderboards are a little bit of the, I would say, a touchy subject there. You have to be careful on your audience and really know if that is a tool that's going to motivate your students, because there is some evidence that it can be actually damaging to motivation, because if you're at the bottom and you're never going to get to the top, well, it's not the best. So we always say use that with a bit of caution there. But the part that I really like, the last tab here, which is I haven't been doing much, this will actually tell the student where they've earned their coins, like which activities and which courses have earned them coins. It'll list them when they're completing it. So that's a pretty good one. I'll mention the last bit on the store. This is what it looks like when you go and add stuff in. You can, of course, manage all of this from our dashboard. And then each item, we have a whole redemption mechanism. I'm not going to get into that today, but there's a whole suite of different tools that you can have to redeem items. So we have ways to redeem items if you see people face-to-face. We have digital downloads, and we have that shipping redemption. So there's multiple ways you can manage the whole redemption piece and track it. So this is our corporate one, because you can see there'd be some items in here maybe that are more appealing to a corporate audience. On our other site, this is our motivated one. You can see this is the avatar that I had drawn up today and pushed over to. You can see my nice green hair and my wild outfit. And then you can push, again, this image to the profile. So it's the same block. We just, on the other one over here, we just, we shrink the avatar. So you can, it's the same block. You just obviously are not displaying that picture. So the mobile app pushes it over. There's a little quick QR code scan for students to log in. So it's pretty easy that way. I will mention too, for the teacher manager roles, we have a single sign-on process, so you can access the dashboards to manage all of this right from the block itself. But when you go into the store, basically works the same in terms of the block, whether it's a Motivated or a Motrain platform, it doesn't really matter. So all it depends then is the type of opportunities that you want to add in, and just making sure that you understand the audience and what they would find appealing and what you are able to offer. So I don't want to overwhelm people with too many of the functionalities, but I hope my key takeaways is that we're looking at adding that motivational design component. I think of this as I'm looking at the exercise bike here, and this block here is really that screen that sits on top of the exercise bike to make it a more appealing system to use. So with that, Christian, I think I'll stop because I can see the time already. I want to make sure we have a bit of time to discuss and answer some questions there. I'll just stop my sharing here if I can.
Okay. I can just stop it.
Oh, there, right. You took over. That's better.
Okay, Jeff, thank you. Thank you so much. I think this was pretty amazing. Personally, among the plugins of Moodle, I think Motrain is one of the most exciting ones, at least personally. I would say that when it comes to gamification, a lot of people have an idea that it has to do with collecting coins, earning rewards, getting to new levels. And I think that's true, but that's only just the baseline. What Motrain does, what Motrain brings to the Moodle experience is we call a motivation economy. And it's how we can link activities and how we can incentivize certain actions from individual actions or collaborative actions for people and to reward them with things that they actually care about. So part of why I think it's only the rewards or the activities that people complete are just the first part, but the other part, which I think is bigger, and it sort of leads to some of the questions that we already have, is that the store and the ability to be constantly reinventing the rewards and the challenges and adding some urgency or some special flavor. I think that's the real magic of Motrain.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I totally agree. And I think the other aspect of it is I would say the most challenging part of our platform is generating the ideas of what you would put in the store. And some people struggle with that in the beginning, but once they kind of get the feeling that or the idea that you can put anything in there. And my personal view is, I mean, you can always put stuff in there. Like you can put in physical items like hats and clothing, and I think of those as physical rewards, and we definitely have corporate clients that are using it that way. But the intent when I first thought of the idea and came up with it, it was actually to offer opportunities, which were for education. And in that case, it was maybe it's having a lunch with a local business leader, so I can, so the student can improve their, job application skills, or maybe improve their resume. So I always thought of it as like, it'd be neat to add value to the student in ways that are I'm going to say related or connected to the learning that they're already doing. And I think that's just why the store works so well in Manfred, is because you can get to those, I would say, unique opportunities, or you can actually put in items and we can send them to your house. So it just depends on the client and what what their use case is. I did see a great question, by the way. Someone asked, where was it there? Pablo asked, do students pay cash to acquire the coins? And I want to be very clear, because we get asked that. The answer is no. There's no cash involved from the students. It's a virtual currency. It's not connected to any real money that the student is having to pay. So those coins you can change actually in the and credits, just the idea is that they're accumulating a virtual amount that they can spend. Or there's definitely no cash. There's no cash changing hands for coins.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a completely digital currency, but you could create real rewards like physical stuff. Or digital and so on. So yeah, you got ahead of me with that first question. But the second question is something that I mentioned. What are the items in the store that you can buy with the coins?
Yeah, and I'll go back to literally anything that you're willing to offer as an organization. So again, to be clear, we do not stock the store. We do not put items in the store. We just make a store available for the organization to make offerings. And so we have a help desk actually that has a whole bunch of suggestions. Like if you're a corporate organization, here are a bunch of ideas to start just getting you to think about the types of things that you could put in, like a holiday. Maybe it's first choice on a holiday schedule, or first choice on a work schedule, or maybe it's the best work truck on the fleet. Like whatever, whatever would be an added value to the employee, then you could put that into the store. On the school side of things, like I said, my favorite always is thinking about the principal's parking spot and them giving that up. But it can be anything that the school offers. Like maybe it's as simple as you earn the right to wear headphones in class, or you can, get a free sandwich at the cafeteria, or anything that the school would typically offer in an educational environment. So it's really limitless. There's no limit to what you can or cannot put in the store.
Yes, and I think you also mentioned that, for example, in that case when let's say we create a course and we put some activities that are mandatory, and if people complete these mandatory activities, they will have finished the course and get the certificate and so on. But if the motivation is there, there's really a good reason to just not settle with what's sort of the requirement, but just to add additional challenges, even higher, and so on. So the motivation starts becoming even more important than sort of the requirement itself. And I think that's a very huge potential there.
And the other issue I always had was, you know, as a teacher, you always have your top students, and they're always motivated, they're always the hardest working, and they're always going to achieve the highest grades. And I was really interested in the virtual currency as being more of an equalizer, because those top students were always getting the best opportunities anyway. And so if you really think about the virtual currency in terms of how it's being earned based on completions, so yes, there is some criteria that you're setting for activities and courses to be completed, but it's not particularly associated with a performance or a grade. Like the higher the grade you get, the more coins you get. Like there's more of that in our grade rules plugin. It's more closely related to that. But I always like the target audience is really not the top 15% motivational design. Is really targeting the
students to earn points or currency using the hormones that and those sort of activities. So I think that's an interesting opportunity that's very clear.
Yeah, it's a really unique. It has, for one thing, it has a lot of different types of learning activities. So that's if you ever go to other systems, you'll see that Moodle has by default, I can't even remember, like 20 or so out of the box activities, different learning opportunities, but then all sorts of other plugins that can add additional learning opportunities. Like H5P I think it's standard now, but it used to be like an add-on. So there's our platform will also listen to all those different types of learning activities. It'll pick up, like, what is it that you've added to your Moodle site? And then we can still connect our coins to those. And so that's why Moodle is so powerful, because it has that, but it also has like the criteria that we can use in terms of making sure that coins are earned based on I would say set learning criteria. You must be able to do this level of performance or achievement as a minimum, or you need to respond by this day, or whatever the criteria is. But a lot of other systems are more like check the box kind of click through systems. So I really like this aspect of Moodle in terms of the got lots of opportunities.
I mentioned that, of course, we have sort of the right desires in terms of education. We can design rewards that promote the educational outcomes. But you also mentioned that we could actually use Motrain for other kinds of purposes, like, for example, marketing or education, or like promoting, not necessarily a product, but we can also promote the content of a course itself. So it's maybe not directly, but it's still educational in a way. And that's, I think, also another important message, that you could actually use Motrain outside Moodle with the goal of bringing people inside Moodle to create a more active environment on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I mentioned you can add coins for any reason that you wish outside of Moodle. So one of our clients is doing some really neat things with that in terms of the soft skills that they're trying to develop with their students. So For example, they're saying, let's say is me in the course, and we're working on my side. Hey, Jeff, you need to go and invite Christian to go for a coffee, and you need to on eye contact and clarity of speech and some other things that, on this checklist of soft skills, which is just not possible for Moodle to be able to mark as complete. The Moodle environment, but also adding in those soft skills and still managing to tie in, I would say, know that happened. We get some feedback. Here's the criteria that need to be met for feedback on that. We can add coins in manually for that. So I really like that aspect. People are getting creative on like you say, combining other opportunities into and tying it into Moodle.
Yes, absolutely. And I think also part of the reason why we are speaking about Motrain for almost an hour now is because we believe that Motrain is going to be very helpful for us as we promote our Moodle Mood Philippines 2021. Nephila Web has held the only conferences about Moodle in Southeast Asia, and for the first time they're going to be virtual. And this time we thought that it would be important to figure out ways to show people what Moodle is capable of, to encourage them to explore the site, and to give them rewards for that. So on that note, I want to show you very briefly what we're starting to work in. This is a work in progress. This is, as I mentioned, the first webinar of the year. We're trying to have a series in preparation for the event to take place in April. Let me show you very briefly what we have in store. Well, if you are familiar with the Moodle community, you understand that these events are places where expert leaders long workshops. Every year we've had the CEO of Moodle joining us. This time he will be live. Other times he's come to the Philippines. And well, we have a full program. We're still working on it. But I want to show you, I wanted to show Jeff what we've been working on, especially when it comes to Motrain. So if you are on Facebook or YouTube, you must have seen the link to access the site. You can actually register right now, and you will see something very similar to what you can see from my screen. So this is me. My site, my dashboard, I've already made 100 coins, which we also have decided to call them Moodle pesos, just to show how personalized we can make it. So if you are joining us, even if you're not joining us live, this site is already live. So if you join to the site and you can register for free, you will be able to see the dashboard, but you will have it in zeros. But once you start joining, and if you join the Motrain course, you can actually start earning your coins already. By watching the webinar or a recording of the webinar, by joining the chat and asking us questions, and the feedback we will enable once this webinar is over. I wanted also to show you the store. And I think something I wanted you to comment on. Just that you will completely update. Like you can keep adding activities to the course, which means that students have opportunities to go back to the course and to complete more activities and to continue earning. So it doesn't have to be like one-off when you complete your stuff and leave the course. As students, we can also continue adding activities and adding challenges, and of course, the rewards.
Absolutely. This looks really good there, Christian. I haven't seen this in a little while. So I'm really excited about having Motrain be a part of the moot that you're running, and I'm really happy to see the progress you've made with loading some store items. But yes, you're very much right. Is that the premise of it, a dynamic system, and so we want the student the content and the challenge for the course creators is that you have enough content. But as we call that expanded economy on the Motrain side, is that you're offering more opportunities for people to earn coins. So we actually have had some clients that have said, "Oh, everybody's completed everything, and so we're just scrambling to add more." So I feel like if that's the feedback we get, as good as it possibly gets, if your students are completing all of the items that you have there, then to me that's a huge success.
Yes, absolutely. So depending on when you're watching, if you're watching live, and you will see these starting rewards. But of course, as we having more webinars, and of course, once we have the Moodle site, we'll continue to add more items to. I think that it was interesting. Like for example, we're giving that one cake. Also very quick. But if you want to just be part of the fun, some people, I guess, will take it more seriously than others. But if you want to be more casual, it's fine. You can just join the raffle, just join the fun. You have a chance to win. And you can buy, of course, as many tickets as you want. And we will keep adding more rewards, and perhaps we can be adjusting. I think that's some point that you made the other time, that is that it takes a bit of a time to calibrate, right? Sort of the relationship between what it takes to earn something and what it takes to redeem. That's like a constant problem, right?
Well, yeah, one of the things that we have on our dashboard is little analytics that gives you some feedback on how quickly students are earning coins on a daily basis. So it gives you some reference in terms of, hey, how long would it take a student to be able to make a purchase here on whether it's a raffle ticket or a real item. It's an important number to know, so you can set up your coin earning economies properly in terms of the coin generation and then the prices of your store.
Yeah, and it's actually fairly easy to adjust the prices, the rewards. It's very intuitive. Okay, so take off my top spots.
I have some learning to do there to move up.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy if people get on top of me. Okay, so I think it's my time to wrap it up. If you have any more questions, there's a very basic one. How do you get started with Motrain? Is Motrain free? How do you set it up in your LMS? What do I need to know if I have my own LMS and I want to get started with Motrain?
Yeah, it's a great question. Our plugin and block are freely available on the Moodle plugins repository, but we are a third-party integrator as a paid service, like some of the other more well-known ones, probably like IntelliBoard, which are also a paid service. So we're in the same category. We do have some fees that we charge based on the number of student users, typically, and then we do also work with our Moodle partners as well, because they obviously offer some services to help support Moodle, like installing and setting up plugins. So I know Christian and Nephila Web could also help take care of that as well. So There's a few options there to get started. But yeah, basically, to get started, I think the setup and installation is the most challenging part. And if you have a Moodle partner, they can make that a lot smoother. But I think, Christian, you can speak to this. Is how easy do you think it is to manage the store, like to load items and put stuff in the make things available? I guess would be my question. I think it's really easy, but I'm probably really biased. So.
Well, okay, full disclosure, I started creating this store about 2 hours ago. And to be honest, it's fairly easy. I mean, for each item, you have like a couple of fields to fill out. But if you are sort of creating items like in a sequence, it's very easy to just create it and update it. The dashboard is really reliable. And yeah, as Jeff mentioned, perhaps the most challenging part is just installing it and connecting them. So the Motrain dashboard starts interacting, but when that's set, the technical challenges are really not there anymore. And it's just a matter of thinking great rewards or great challenges, and you can just purchase full access to the Moodle Moods, where we have workshops, talks by Martin, the founder of Moodle, and many other experts, and just a lot of really, really exciting stuff coming our way. So I hope you can join us. Please get in touch with us if you want to learn more about Motrain, about Moodle. If you want to speak or if you want to connect with our community, we're also very, very open to that. So thank you again. Thank you, Jeff, for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Christian. I really had a great time tonight, and I'm thrilled to see it being a part that we're helping with the Moodle Moot, and I know that's going to be a huge success for you guys. And yeah, thank you everyone for spending the time to come to listen to us today, and we hope we added some value.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure we did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. I love the cake too, by the way.
Oh yeah. Oh well, I guess we're wrapping up. One of the ideas that you gave me the other day is that you could actually partner up with providers of people who wants to give you promotions or coupons or exact. And you mentioned this other example where some events using Motrain, they were giving out like headphones. And I'm thinking in the Philippines, you could get like some loot boxes for a mobile game. There's really limitless possibilities.
You must have some good bakery connections, because I've never seen cake in our store before, but I love it. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, of course, and we have very good relations with this particular area. So train and you want this, you can also reach out to us.
Perfect. Great. Thanks again there, Christian, and thanks everyone for coming. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
Okay, bye-bye.